What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Tribeofrunners podcast. I'm your host, Liz Myers, and today I'm going to have a conversation about things that not so many people like to talk about, that being things based on female running. So, if you're a male, not sure this episode's going to be for you, doesn't mean you can't listen and join in on things you may not know that females have to struggle with. But I figured since I am a female and I encounter these things in my daily running, why not talk about them and share the struggle of some of the things that females encounter? Yes, don't get me wrong. I know males have their struggles as well. And, you all deserve your own podcast episode as well. But for me, with this episode, I just want to talk about things that female athletes don't really talk about and something that, like, I want every female to know, like, you're not alone. We all feel this way, and some of us experience it a little more than others, and some of us don't experience it at all. But it's a conversation of what female runners aren't talking about in the running world. So let's dive in. Again, I will start this with saying this is nothing against any male. This is just a conversation about females, one big topic being the menstrual cycle. So I'm sure you're already like, I don't want to listen to this. But it is honestly something that a lot of females deal with when running, and it's not something that's talked about very often. And if it is, it's kind of like hush hush under the rug. So I'm just bringing some of this to light. Mind you, I don't know everything when it comes to the actual cycle for females. I've done some research. I obviously experienced my own thing, and I will get more into depth on that. But, everyone has their own things that they deal with within a cycle. Everyone's a little different. So, mind you, what I experienced, what I've researched, what I've found, it may not be identical to what you experience, but it's going to be similar and it'll make you feel, hopefully, that you're not alone. Because you're not alone. We're all in this together. So let's share some of the crazy, uncomfortable, and things that we hate and continue, being together, supporting each other, and getting through these crazy times in the ultra or running world. So, one of the biggest topics I think I want to talk about is chafing. So, we all chafe, male, female, all of us. We all chafe, but I feel like females don't talk so much about areas of chafing. So, one big thing is, you know, your legs. We all experience it. Legs rubbing together. Females are known to have thicker legs. I was blessed with these chicken legs that I have myself, so I can't say I deal with too much chafing in my legs, but I do a little bit. So what I personally use is Body Glide, and I will just lube up my legs with some Body Glide every 3 to 4 hours during any run or race. So anytime there's a type of chafing, it is your body rubbing against each other and is causing friction, which then will chafe and feel like carpet burn. It burns. It does not feel good. So in order to prevent that, lube up. You could use Body Glide. You could use Squirrel's Nut Butter. You could use Salty Britches. You could use Aquaphor. Use something that's going to put a lubricant between the two, or you could also tape the area. So the reason I say that is because I am very prone to chafing, like where my bra sits, and honestly, like where my bra lies on the top part of my chest. So anytime I have a long race where I know I'm going to be running for a while and sweating and there's going to be friction and chafing, I will actually tape the areas. And I got this from one of my good friends, Kaylee, at the Keys 100, not this year, but the year prior. She was dealing with really bad chafing. She's like, I just need to tape the area. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. So instead of trying to worry about like lubing up an area consistently, like the bra is such a pain in the butt. It is, just it's annoying. So I take a piece of tape, stick it right across the lower part where the bra sits and will chafe. And I typically don't have to worry about it. Yes, it does suck. I have to do some extra work, but it prevents long-term chafing. And ever since I have done it, I have never experienced any chafing in that general area. Typically, I feel like once I figure out, oh, this area chafes real bad, I adjust, put some tape on it, and then I find a new area. So I'm like, one of these days, probably going to be fully taped up, but it prevents chafing, which is awesome. And if you don't have tape, and if you're out in the middle of the run and say you have some lube with you or something of that nature, put that on the area. It'll help prevent the chafe. And then if you can get it where you can put some tape on it, or maybe just have to continuously lube it, it's recommended every 3 to 4 hours. And if you're sweaty or, accidentally wipe it off or change clothes and something of that aspect, always relube those areas. So really, really known areas for chafing with females is in between the legs, bra line, around the armpits, like where your bra sits. Sometimes the back of the pack is another area that will chafe, and then also our lady parts. So it is known for females to have chafing down there. be aware. It's not fun. It is very uncomfortable. So if you ever are concerned or worried or start to experience it, take care of it as soon as possible. No one wants to deal with anything being chafed, especially in sensitive areas. So I just feel like this is a topic that is kind of brushed under the rug. We kind of say like, yeah, chafing happens, just put some lube on it. And half the time that is the way to do it. It could be the clothing you're wearing too, or the material that you have. So if it's a pack or something like that, being aware of what is bothering you and adjusting to it is key. So it could be change of clothes, change of material. It could be just taping or lubing that area up, or it could be like reassessing how something is laying on you. Like I know a few athletes and friends of mine that have chafing in packs because their pack kind of rides up and it'll chafe around their neck. So trying to do what you can to prevent any type of chafing is great. So wearing a shirt that maybe has a collar. I know it's not always ideal. I personally like Folklord's clothing. They have a button up that has a collar. It's amazing. It's super lightweight, super breathable. You can use the code TRIBE to get 10% off. And it is a very comfortable fitting shirt that would help prevent that actual vest from causing any chafe up around your neck. Other situations could be like belts. I know belts sometimes can chafe or rub and cause chafing in certain ways. So making sure the belt fits you correctly. Same with your legs. So when incidents of like women having chafing between your legs, you could actually wear longer shorts or like tight fitting tights or leggings, whatever the case may be, that would help hopefully prevent some chafing. Some other areas is your butt crack. And I mean, it happens. It has only happened to me once and it wasn't horrible, but I've heard horror stories and I know chafing in your butt crack happens. So lubing that bad boy up or trying to make sure you dry it out and like get all of the moisture out of there. It sounds really gross, but it is known to be an area that gets chafed. So if you can try to prevent that, it's the areas that we never want to deal with. And then we realize 50 miles into a race, like, oh, I have really bad chafing in this area. They're the things that we want to take care of. So just some little things, nothing too crazy yet, but little thing about chafing, do your best to take care of that stuff because you don't want to be chafed. Another topic, and this one, I hate to jump into this one next, but I feel like it is something that needs to get talked about, and it's sexism. So I have nothing against men. I have nothing against women. I am a female, but I do encounter sometimes that aspect of like, this is a man's sport and I am all for, it's the women's race and being there for the women's race. And I do feel like women have proven that they can hang in that aspect, but I also have just felt and dealt with some masculinity in the sport. And it's in everyday life. It's not just in ultra running. I deal with it in the work life outside of doing what I do now. I dealt with it always in almost every job that I ever had outside of being a coach. And, it just is what it is. You can't take it personally. It's something that I think a lot of women struggle with. I struggle with it as well. I never want that aspect being put on me or thrown on me in life, but it does happen. And the best thing you can do is just to ignore it. Let them have their egotistical way of going about them and making sure that you stay in your own aspect of like why you love the sport. And if it's for yourself, then that's perfect. You just remember, I love this sport. I love what I'm doing and I'm doing this for myself, not because to prove this asshole over here that thinks I can't run fast, And I know like there's so many things and out there that have like shown that like men are stronger and this and that. And, whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, women are just as powerful, and if not, probably more. I mean, we literally birth babies and raise a child in our belly and then have them, and then yeah. So don't get me started on that bit. But it's just to show like women can do things as well. And a prime example is you got people like Courtney DeWalter and Rachel Inchikid, and then Jasmine Paris, who just did the Barkley, which I love the Barkley. I want to do the Barkley so bad. I want to go out there and experience this. But I remember watching videos of Laz talk about women not being able to do this race, and it just like lit a fire on my butt. And I'm so thankful that Jasmine was out there and crushed the race and got it done to prove that women can do this. I don't know if anyone knows about this, but Jasmine Paris in an interview has once talked and said like she did it for herself, not to prove that women can do it, but for herself. So no matter all the shit that's been talked and all the hate that's been said on like women can't do stuff like this, she didn't give a shit. She was worried about doing it for herself. She wanted to prove to herself that she could do this race. And I feel like that is where it comes down to having these issues in any type of life and or races. Like, you have to take care of yourself, worry about yourself, do everything for yourself, not to prove a man wrong, not to prove another female wrong, not to prove anybody wrong except for yourself. Because at the end of the day, we're only out here trying to be better than ourselves, not trying to be better than everyone else. So I think that's like one of the biggest things. It's like, it happens, it does happen in the sport, it does happen in everyday life. I feel like the ultra world is turning more towards like supporting women and encouraging women to do all the crazy and hard things out there, which I am absolutely for and I love. But I just feel like it's something that it doesn't really get talked about. And same with feeling safe in this sport. That's another thing. Like, kind of goes hand in hand. I know a lot of women that are very timid to run at dark or run around men or run in scary situations. And it's a real thing, and it's sad to say in this life that we have to be so scared and have that concern in a sport known as running, where like running down the street could be very scary. It's a horrible thing that we have to experience as females, but we do, and you're not alone. Multiple times, I myself, or I know other people that have encountered really scary situations, luckily have gotten out and or come through these situations and are doing what they can now to help promote aspects where letting people know they're not alone and that this stuff does happen. But we have a community, and not only in the running community, but in the female central aspect of having females be there to support you, and male. I know a lot of males that are on women's side, encouraging them and trying to do what they can to help protect and keep women safe. So you're not alone. It happens. It's so sad that it does happen, but just know, do what you can to keep yourself safe. If that's running with a friend, running with a partner, running with an animal, running with something to protect yourself. There's tons of things out there that is offered to help save you in the sense of keeping you safe. And it could be, I hate to say it, just getting a treadmill and running on the treadmill when you don't feel safe, and going out there and running in nighttime or at, a sketchy neighborhood or whatever the case may be. Doing things to make yourself feel safe is what we have to do. And getting out on the trails when we can with people that will keep us safe and that will make us feel safe is very, very important. But again, it's something that is not very talked about. And I feel like a lot of people just need to understand, like, it's okay. You do what you have to do to make yourself feel safe and be able to still get out there and run confidently and comfortably, where you can actually enjoy the wonderful aspect of running that we all are obsessed with and love to do. So don't hesitate to talk to people about it. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to be a little worried. Doing what you can to stay safe is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, you want to run and go have fun, and we don't want anyone to be running paranoid, can't get a run in because they're so worried about everything else going around them. So do what you can. It's all we really can do. Again, it's worrying about what you can within, and then doing what you can with it to go out there and be the best person you can and get in the runs that you can. It's never easy, but it's the best thing that you can do. I have an episode that I recently just made where I talk about running in the dark and some ways to overcome running in the dark. So check that out if you're ever concerned about running in the dark. It's a couple tricks and tips. But the biggest thing is just making sure that you feel confident and comfortable, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how safe something may feel, but if you in your head cannot get out of the scaredness and the questioning of the run, you'll never actually enjoy it. So what is the fun in that? So do what you can and stay as safe as possible. Another topic, I think we're just going to dive right into it, is the menstrual cycle. So this is a topic that I feel like is not talked about. I've actually tried to get a few people on the podcast to talk about it, because I am no master at this. I know what I experience, and after doing some research, I'm like, oh, it kind of makes some sense then. But I don't have all the data points and I don't know everything. But I will share with you what there is to know and what I've found. So obviously there's 4 phases, and if I'm incorrect in saying they're called phases, I apologize. But there are 4 phases from what I know in your menstrual cycle. And the first big phase is when you actually have your period, the menstrual cycle. The day 1 to 5, this is when your period starts and you have your period. Some periods are shorter, some periods are longer, some are heavy, some are light. I personally experience one to be a lot worse than the other. And then I also experience one to be a lot crampier and then the other. I don't know if crampier is a word, but you get what I'm saying. I've been told it's due to one ovary ovulates and then the other one does the next month. I don't know if that's just a myth, but it's what I've been told, and it kind of makes sense. So who's to say that's right or wrong? And then the next cycle actually overlaps with your menstrual cycle, and that is the follicle phase. This is anywhere from day 1 to day 13, and this is when you get out of the period, and then everything kind of crazy happens. I'll kind of get into more in depth on like what is happening scientifically, but this is the phase that typically the mood improves, your endurance kind of picks back up, everything, you get out of that like phase of the period. If you know what I'm talking about, you get what I'm saying. I'm getting what I'm saying. The next phase is actually ovulation. So that's going to be on day 14. This is obviously when you will ovulate and all that good stuff is going down. So anyone that's looking to get pregnant, day 14, that is your day. Next is going to be the luteal phase, and this is day 15 to 28. And this is the one I'll never forget this. I have to share this. It's kind of off topic, but it is on topic. So I was watching a reel or a video one of these days, and it was some man that said, "Why doesn't everyone tell me about this luteal phase? This luteal phase?" And the way he's saying it is hilarious. But he goes, "I was trying to talk to this female, and she wrote me and said, 'Please do not talk to me right now. I'm in my luteal phase. Reach back out in 10 to 14 days.'" And he's like, "What is this luteal phase? What is going on? Blah, blah, blah. She's being so crazy." And I was just like, oh my God. It's the funniest thing ever because, well, the luteal phase is the roughest of all of them, but I will kind of get into that. So let's go over the cycles. You have your menstrual cycle, which is when your estrogen and your progesterone are really, really low. So it's typically when you're fatigued, when you're tired, when things are not feeling good. It's usually day 1 to day 5. Next, we're going to have the follicle phase, which is when your mood improves. Your estrogen increases, so your mood improves, your strength improves, your endurance improves, like you feel a little bit better, like you're back to your quote unquote normal self. Then you're going to ovulate. This is where most fatigue happens. Your estrogen peaks, your testosterone can sometimes like surge, so you are honestly known to be fatigued and have a higher risk of injury. I'm not entirely sure the scientific process behind it, but it kind of makes sense. Like your body's doing all this stuff, it's focused on something, what it's doing down there, so you're not really at the peak of the sense of the body being there to help recover and or be strong in that aspect. So you have that like bit of fatigue, but I've also heard on the other end sometimes females do actually like peak in this area. So this is where everyone can be a little different, and again, I'm not a specialist in this area. This is just some of the data that I've read and found about. But the next phase is the good old luteal phase, and this is when the progesterone is dominant. So all of the hormones are at the highest, and we fatigue, we have slow recovery, we are just not doing well. I've known people to have really mental or bad mental episodes in this phase. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably the hardest phase to be in, and it feels like it's the longest. And me personally, so like I've kind of sat and read all this stuff and then like looked at my own things and like, oh my gosh, it kind of makes sense. So usually when I start, say I have my period, it starts, and the few days it's like really bad. I'm miserable. I'm crampy. You know, I'm sluggish. I'm fatigued. It's the worst of the worst in that aspect. And then usually 3 to 4 days, like I'm good. I'm feeling good. Things are kind of getting back to normal. I'm not feeling so crappy. And then after that, like I'm feeling great and I'm super motivated. I'm super driven. I feel like I'm on top of the world. I'm literally in that phase right now where I'm feeling like that. So everything is just everything feels normal. I'm like, I'm not some crazy bitch. Like I feel fine. And then within like I'd say 2 weeks of that, it's like straight up fucking downhill in a car hits a wall, and I am just like the most negative person. I'm really, really negative to myself, super down on myself. I have very low patience, and I'm typically super good on like being very patient, especially with the dogs and the child and my partner. And I realize things happen, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my patience are wearing thin. But then a day or two goes by, and then before you know it, your menstrual cycle is happening again. And as soon as I get my period, I'm like, I'm not a crazy bitch. I knew it was coming, and it's this crazy cycle that we go through. And it is different for everyone. I personally feel so good in some of the, I guess the follicle phase where I am just like on top of the world. And I actually know people that are opposite, where they don't do too well in that sense. But it's just different for everyone. And at the end of the day, you should really pay attention to how you're feeling and dial in when you are sluggish, when you're fatigued, when are you feeling good, when are you not like feeling mentally unwell, because it is a big thing. And I think females underestimate how much it plays a role in training, especially when you are at the peak of training. I have literally been, peak training for a 200-mile race and been on top of the world, having amazing runs. And then the next week, they all go to crap. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I can't do this. Why did I think I could do this? And then, the next week, I'm like, oh, no, I think I was maybe overreacting. And then the following week, I'm like, I can do everything and anything in the world. And it's your freaking cycle. So, it happens. It's going to happen. I hate to say that it does happen, but to know that you're not alone is huge. And to know that it's something that should be looked at and tracked, I hate to say, because it will really help you become a better runner at the end of the day. So I have been tracking and paying attention to this for a while now. So one of the things that you could actually do is try to plan your recovery week around the parts of the training where things kind of go south. So I know a lot of females that actually want to take a recovery week when they have their period. So like the first few days of the period, they want to try to put a recovery week or a deload week around that time because the period is so bad. I personally can work through that. It doesn't bother me that much. I don't actually base my recovery around my cycle, but I will tell you the weeks that I am mentally struggling is when I have wished that it was a deload week for me. And it's not because like I can't handle the training, but I just get so negative to myself, like thinking I'm an imposter, like who are you? What are you? Why are you making these videos? Why are you making these podcasts? All that, normal type shit that does truly happen that no one talks about. And I'm here to say we all do it and we all experience it. But the biggest thing is like doing what's best for you. At the end of the day, like I said, I don't actually base my deload or recovery week off of my cycle, but it is something that can be done. And if it will make things better for you, then to definitely do them. But to know what part of your cycle you're in, why you're experiencing the things you're experiencing is very, very helpful. And it's just not talked about. So if you experience some type of way, let me know, comment, reach out, DM, and let me know. And, if I've butchered how this actual phase and cycle goes, I am so sorry. But this is just some of the knowledge that I found. And I think one of the things is really not talked about that is a shame is like how mentally taxing a cycle can be to a female when they are truly in like the peak of training. So I remember a prime example when I was doing my 200 training. I remember a few times like around my cycle that I was just like, I just don't know why I'm doing this. Like I can't do this 200 miles, blah, blah, blah. And then the biggest thing I think that is like a game changer is like I had some of the most peak training in the best moments of my cycle where all the runs were hitting really well. Everything was working out. And I was lucky and fortunate enough that it all just lined up like that. But it doesn't always happen. So you need to be generous on yourself, knowing sometimes training is going to go to shit. Sometimes you're going to have to do what you can to overcome the mental struggles, but you're not alone. And, talk to other females. I've literally have athletes come to me and tell me, I'm struggling with this. I can't believe this run went like this. And I'm like, dude, A, it's 100% okay. And B, I hate to say this, but is your cycle coming? Is anything of that nature going on? And they're like, yeah, actually it should be here in a week or so. And I'm like, yeah, like you're in the shitty part of the phase where your cycle is just horrible and it happens, and I think it's something that is overlooked a lot in females training and, it just is what it is. And this kind of brings me to the next topic of like getting your period on a race or during a race or before a race. I have really, really hard time with this because like I feel like it's so unfair, like when you spend months training for a race and then you get your cycle right before or even during a race, it is the end of the world for a lot of us. But at the end of the day, we've been dealing with our periods, our cycles for years, a lot of years at the end of the day. So you should know how your cycle forms and how your body reacts. Personally, like I said, I know 1 month it's a little harder for me in the cramping area. Like I'm going to be a lot more crampier. I'm a lot more in pain and discomfort compared to the next month where I'm a lot more moodier and I'm a lot more kind of like I'm a negative Nancy type deal. So knowing the 2 months and trying to know like, hey, this month is actually going to be kind of rough and I have a race. So I need to adjust and just prepare for it. It's the best thing. I mean, I've literally had athletes that I've talked to and I'm like, well, sadly, we all have our cycle, and it just happens to be that it's going to fall on the day of your race or around your race. So the only thing you can do is prepare. When you go for runs or go out for your run, make sure you have a tampon with you or a pad or a cup, whatever the case may be, and be prepared because at the end of the day, you don't want to be mid race, realize you get your period, and then be screwed and not know what to do. And then another thing is to, not only prepare in the sense of like having stuff with you, but prepare mentally. You're going to be on your period and you're going to be running 100 miles. It's something that can be done. I know I've literally ran 50 miler and got my period mid race. And I know plenty of athletes that have gotten their period right before race. I know plenty of athletes that have gotten their period during a race. Like it happens. It sucks. And you got to do what you got to do. And I think even Sally McRae during her 200-mile year when she did a whole bunch of 200s, she had her period come up both times. And during that, she had to improvise. So what did she do? She just kept going. She just dealt with what she could and then reassessed and kept going. Like it's not something that should make or break you. Yes, it's going to suck, but we've been dealing with it for how many years already. So just adjusting and doing what you can, but letting yourself know like, hey, it's just one other thing that you have to overcome within this race. So you're already ahead of the game because in races, everything good and bad and ugly can happen. And you've just overcome what you did. And so, you're a badass already and you haven't even started the race. But hopefully you don't have your period during a race because it is the worst and it sucks. But just know you're not alone. All of us females deal with it. Well, all of us females that still have and or deal with periods are dealing with it. And it's something that, you can't really do anything about other than just to prepare yourself. So one of the topics that if anyone knows someone that knows way more knowledge about this, please let me know. And I'd love to have you on the podcast, but this is what I got for you and it's as good as it gets. And yeah, sorry, it's not fantastic, but it's good. So another topic is pregnancy. And I'm not going to lie, this is another topic that I almost dove into. And I'm like, you know what? I think this is just way above my general knowledge to educate another person because there is so much that can go into this and everyone is so different. So running while pregnant is definitely something you need to do. Being safe, talking to your coach, talking to, if you have a doctor, like making sure everything is okay for you to run. Obviously, if you get told that you need to be in bed rest, don't be running, be smart. But I know a lot of women that will run pretty far into their trimesters and, just do it safely, do it smartly. One of my biggest things is getting back into running after being pregnant. So I had an amazing conversation with Mackenzie on the podcast. It was episode 58. Go check it out. And we talk about the best ways to return to running postpartum. So if you've had a baby or if you're planning to have a baby and you're wondering how fast you can come back in to running, go check out the episode and listen because Mackenzie gives so many good information. We go over a article that goes over all the good knowledge on when to return, how to return, and the best way to return safely. So it's an amazing episode, and Mackenzie gives so much good information. So you can definitely go check that out and let me know what you think. Another topic that I feel like I should have probably brought up when I talked about chafing, but hey, it's my podcast. I do what I want. But it's bras. Girl, I can't tell you how many times I've tried certain bras and they just don't work. Or they cause too much chafing, and I still don't have it dialed in. I'm not gonna lie. I hate bras. I hate trying to find them. I hate shopping for them. It's just don't even get me started. It's not my cup of tea. I know some women that love it, so more power to you. But finding a bra that truly supports your girls and doesn't cause chafing is huge. So if you have any or have a recommendation, let me know in my DMs. Make a comment, let us know. But truly finding a bra that fits you, that keeps the girls in place and does not cause any chafing is so important. And I think it's really overlooked with females. I know personally, like when I wear my vest, which has water in the front, snacks everywhere, and then my girls are bouncing, there's just so much movement in that general area. So having a nice bra that fits tight, that doesn't allow so much movement, not to mention the the balance of the vest, which also causes frictions. And then that's how I get chafing up on the upper part of my chest, which is why I tape that area. So it's such a pain in the ass. And it's a topic that isn't talked about because no one wants to talk about boobs. But hey, I do and I will. So it's something that I feel like, it is getting more talked about in the sense of there's a lot more brawl industry or brawl companies coming into the industry trying to help out women and or a different type of supportive bras that are long lasting and durable because we go through them probably way more than we care to admit. And it's just a horrible thing to deal with trying to find the one that fits, trying the one that doesn't, chafe you is really, really big. So finding that right bra makes a difference. So if you're looking for a bra, sadly, I don't have any recommendations, but shop around. I know a lot of women that wear the Victoria's Secret bras. I personally wear one of those sport ones. I couldn't even tell you what brand it is or what type it is. It's a Victoria's Secret bra, but finding something that fits you and helps keep them girls in is really, really important. So another thing that is not talked too much about is just that the simple fact that like we have an extra body part that we have to cover and keep secure, and it's not really talked about in this industry. So find a good holder for your boobies. That's all I got for you. And then finally, something I feel like we should talk about is nutrition and pooping, because we are girls and girls don't always admit that they poop, but we do. So it happens. And in races, it's going to happen, especially if you're eating a lot and you're pushing your body to the limit. So don't be afraid to openly talk about pooping and knowing that we all do it. And not only do men poop, but women poop, and we fart and we run and we fart and we run and we poop. So know that you're not alone. And it just is what it is. This is ultra running. We do crazy, stupid things. And one of those crazy, stupid things is going to involve you having to poop sometimes. So it's okay. Don't be ashamed. Don't be humiliated. We all freaking do it. Don't hesitate to be a little standoffish or worried about announcing like you have to go to the bathroom mid-race. Like it all happens. It is what it is. And that's kind of what brings me into nutrition because a lot of females in this industry feel like, they eat less and or not as much. And I'm here to tell you that is wrong. Everyone is different. So nutrition is not cookie cutter saying that everyone should only eat 60 grams of carbs or be like David Roach eating 150 grams of carbs per hour, which is insane. More power to you, bud, but I could never consume that much and then run. I would be shitting my brains out, just to be 100% honest. But I will tell you that women are very much assumed to eat less during runs, and it's just not true. I know I was roughly eating around 80 to 90 grams of carbs, realized I think it was a bit too much, and I'm roughly right around like 75-ish grams of carbs an hour, which is relatively high. It's like the medium high now because now the high is like 100 grams of carbs per hour. And I'm sure at one point maybe I could train my gut to do that, but I don't necessarily think I want to do that, because I'm very comfortable with the 75 grams of carbs per hour. So I'm just here to share that like we need to literally eat to fuel our body and push our bodies to the limit. So eat the calories, eat the carbs. It will fuel you for your runs and you will be able to push yourself harder and push yourself for a longer time within a race when your body is properly fueled. So don't think I can only eat 30 to 40 grams of carbs an hour because I'm on a strict diet or a strict nutrition plan, because at the end of the day, like your body is burning so many calories and so many carbs, and you need that fuel to get you through races. So I know one thing that I hate talking about, and I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but a lot of women, and there are men out there too, that do struggle with nutrition and or like eating disorders. I'm never here to make fun of, to disrespect, or to make someone feel uncomfortable, but I want to talk about how important it is to eat while running. It's super important to continue to eat during runs, not only in runs during the run, but also outside of the run, pre and post run, and in your everyday life. Obviously, I don't struggle with any type of eating. I literally eat my ass off all day long. I'm not going to lie. But I do know it is a real condition, and I do know a lot of people struggle with it. So I'm not here to, again, make fun of or make anyone feel bad. But if you have nutritional issues, reach out to someone and talk to someone, get help. Because at the end of the day, it could make and break your runs, and it could honestly harm you in a very, very bad way. So making sure you're eating properly and eating to fuel your runs is super important. And if this is a sport that you love and that you actually care about, obviously you want to eat as much as possible to fuel these runs, to continue to be an amazing runner and to strive in this industry. But also knowing that like you're not alone. There's tons of people in this running world, there's tons of people in the normal world that struggle with food, nutrition, and everything of that aspect. So talking to people is what you have to do. I always tell people this, and I think it gets kind of laughed at, but communicating is huge in this world of people that can communicate. I think a lot of people lack the communication skills of like just talking about the way you feel or announcing what's been going on with you. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a weird person, but talking things through makes a difference. And so if you're having issues with eating, if you're having issues with running, if you're having issues with your dog, talk to people, talk through the things that you're going through, and then realize that you'll come out on the other side probably tenfold and feel so much better, not only physically, but mentally. Because mentally, when things are rough, your body will react in different ways. So if you're struggling with something, not only are you struggling with it mentally, but you're also affecting your body physically, which a lot of things is not talked about. So kind of random spiral in the sense of like eating issues, mental issues, like you are not alone. Talk to someone. Go see a therapist. Go see your friend that you talk to and talk all about this. Come talk to me. I cannot explain how much I'm always here in the aspect of someone to talk to. I am an over communicator. I tell all of my friends, I tell my partner, I tell all of my athletes, like I over communicate things. Probably to the point of a little bit of the extreme, but I want to make sure that I'm on the same page of someone and that they're on the same page as me, meaning we all understand what's going on. And I hope to, have someone do that for me in return, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be questioning things, because I'm not going to lie, I'm an overthinker. So when I'm not sure of something, I'm overthinking the crap out of it and then wondering either what I've done wrong, what has gone wrong, or what I can do better. And to the point where sometimes it's just like, oh no, there's actually no issue at all. And I've just wasted all of my energy and all of my day overthinking something that didn't need to be overthinked. So, communicating these things to people around you and letting them know like what's going on in your daily life so they can help you, not only in the sense of like encouragement, but holding you accountable and also being there for you to talk and, to make you feel like you're not alone. Because again, you're never alone. And I think it's just so important that women really try to kind of keep things in. I know we probably have this reputation that women like to talk and be catty and chatty, but it's more of like a gossip thing. I don't think a lot of women really do talk too much about how they feel and like what's going on personally. I know with men, that's a whole nother different topic, but I feel like it's something in this running world that like we have all like really kind of put in the back burner, where like we don't talk about the crazy things like any of these topics, but just know you're not alone and that we're all out here. We all experience the same thing. And it could be what pace you're running, like being so upset that you're quote unquote a slow runner, when in reality you're not a slow runner. Now I know this episode isn't long, short, because I don't want to butcher the shit out of this and over communicate too much to the point where I am just talking out of my ass. But I do think this is a quick little podcast that can truly change the thought process and maybe the shitty assumption that women don't experience all this stuff, because we do. And I'm sure there's plenty of other things out there that I have not talked about. One of the probably primest things to talk about, which I know female and male experience, would be body image. Like we all have this image of how we need to look to be a runner, how we need to look to be I don't even know. Don't even get me started. There's so many things. And we all experience that. Like, I don't like the way I look. And some people look at me and wish they looked the way that I looked. Like, it's just normal. It's 100% normal. It is a whole nother topic, a whole nother podcast episode that I don't think I'll ever want to dive into. Not because of anything other than just way too much controversy. But to know that you're not alone in that aspect is huge. And you're not. We're never alone. The thought that you think, I guarantee, has been thought by someone else. And, it's just who we are as people. We literally have this amazing brain in our head that lets us do the crazy things that we do and think the crazy things that we think. So please realize you're not alone. Us females out here do have to deal with other shit compared to men, but trust me, they have their own long list of things that they have to deal with as well, which I don't care to get into. No offense to any guy out there. But this is my podcast on all things that women deal with that is not really talked about. Let me know in the comments below if you deal with anything that I did not mention, and or you have any advice for anyone out there that is a female that is dealing with the craziness of what we have to deal with in ultra runs. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next one.